and I think this application is working as always. So, hello everybody, I'm Richard Gordon of Flag to Live podcast version, and so first of all, this this episode is not important. So, what I can clearly say is, I'm sorry for my stuttering manner or stuttering way of speaking English, but actually, so first of all, this episode is not important, and that is because what I'm going to talk about is the fifth vaccination against the COVID-19 or that type of coronavirus, and which had been not prevalent or persevered, or which had been widespread. Well, widespread, COVID-19 had been widespread. Maybe it's possible, and of course this world this world still has some patients of COVID-19, but actually that virus, and this is a case of my country, but actually that the pandemic had been existent and why how should I say so why last until last year the pandemic had been existed, and meaning the pandemic of COVID-19, and which is what I'm saying. But actually, human beings could create vaccinations or vaccines against COVID-19, and which is how people could overcome, or how should I say? So, people, human beings could overcome the pandemic of COVID-19. I'm sorry, I'm really bad at speaking English. That is, and one of the reasons is that I'm a native speaker of English language, and so anyway, talking about COVID-19 or coronavirus, the pandemic of which had the pandemic of which began in 2020. So talking about that coronavirus is what I'm saying, and I I started creating episodes of podcast. So before the beginning of the pandemic, but actually I began to, well, the number of the episodes of podcast I created surged during the time of the pandemic of coronavirus, and that is because people had worked in their residences, or at home, or in their houses, and which is and so I had plenty of time, or I had fairly a lot of time compared with this present time, and I mean I had more time in the time of the pandemic of coronavirus than in this present time, and because and nowadays, or recently, I've not every day, but actually I don't have to go to my workplace on weekends, but actually in on weekdays I have to go to my own workplace, which is my situation, and which is why I have I have small amount of time compared with with uh, with uh, with the time of the pandemic of coronavirus, or the COVID-19. And anyway, so I should come back to the main track of this episode, and to start with, I should tell you the title and the conclusion of this episode. And anyway, so people have overcome the pandemic of COVID-19, and this time the title is, wait a moment please. So the fifth vaccination, meaningless, and the conclusion is, I got the fifth vaccination of the coronavirus. And so anyway, I haven't spoken English for 1 or 2 weeks, and which is why, my speaking, and apart from which, and my speaking ability is exacerbating, or deteriorating, or my speaking performance is lowering. Maybe one of the causes is my own aging, and I'm in my thirties, but actually, I'm getting older, and which is natural for everybody, and as I get older, or as I age, or my body ages, so my speaking performance lowers, or exacerbates or deteriorates, and which is a kind of natural. And anyway, so I don't have a long time, so I'm going to finish this episode. And so I got I got the fifth vaccination against coronavirus, and this is the next date. This is the next date of the date of vaccination, and so I didn't have a high fever, I have I didn't catch a high fever, but actually I feel tired, or I feel tiredness, and tiredness is one of the side effects of the vaccine, or of the vaccination against coronavirus, or against COVID-19, and which is why, so the side effect I'm feeling is tiredness, and I have a slight headache, and which is another side effect, another side effect, not another, or which is one of, and headache is also one of the side effects of the vaccination against COVID-19. And anyway, so the side effects, I have a headache and tiredness. This is all actually. And anyway, so in general, I'm fine. So I'm not perfectly healthy because of the vaccination, but actually, so my bodily condition is fine, and it's possible to say that I'm healthy. And it's possible to say, so my body is fine. And but actually, I'm slightly tired, and I feel some, how should I say, some heavy load in the frontal part of my brain, where I feel some sort of or I have some sort of weight, or I have something weighing in the frontal part, or in the front of my brain, and which is and accompanied by a small degree of headache, or the pain of head, and which is my bodily condition, and this is all the stuff I'd like you to know this time. And so maybe I think most of you haven't heard of COVID-19, or the pandemic for these months, or for at least, in this year. So maybe most of you have spent ordinary lives, or normal lives, and so not irrespective of the existences, or the the wide irrespective of whether, the the patients of coronavirus crop up or not. And but actually, maybe I think, your country has some patients of COVID-19, but actually, so the number of the patients, must be really small, and which is also the case to my country. Anyway, and once, I'm recording this episode in the autumn in 2023. Anyway, so, telling you the months of this creating episodes, and the month is November, well, in the middle of November actually. And anyway, so in the summer in 2023, my country had some fairly, or slightly large number, some slightly large number of the patients of coronavirus in summer. But actually, so, maybe the number has decreased, and maybe there is almost no patient of COVID-19 these days, which is my present situation. And this is all the stuff I'd like you to know this time. And I'm going to tell you the title and the conclusion of this episode. The title is "The Fifth Vaccination Meaningless," and I don't think it's meaningless, but actually, there are almost no there's almost no patient of COVID-19. So I don't know whether the fifth vaccination was significant or not. And the conclusion is I got the fifth vaccination of the coronavirus. And this is all the stuff I'd like you to know. And I have told you this phrase 3 times. And that's it. Thank you very much for your listening. See you.